What is good, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? How are you? How are you? How are you? How is everyone today? If you didn't know already, I'm at Big Bear Cannabis. You can reach me at bigbearcannabis@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I'd love to help. Greaser Girl, looking forward to seeing you. Stacy May, Tate, Tony, Slightly Fragrant, appreciate you joining. Stacy May, thank you for inviting your followers. Good morning, everyone. RN Vasquez, Bluntopia, thank you guys so much for inviting your followers. Thank you for swiping, inviting. Thank you for tapping that screen. Super excited to see you in August. Hopefully we'll have a chance to hang out. Aaron Donald, RN Vasquez, thank you for inviting your followers. So guys, if you didn't already know, I'm at Big Bear Cannabis. I have over 20 years of hands-on experience with marijuana. Had the opportunity to start a business in Washington. I opened a business from the ground up, helped a family member get licensed, and now work in a multi-million-dollar facility here in Las Vegas, growing and processing marijuana. So let's jump into it. I don't know if anybody's heard, but the DEA, there was a story that broke this weekend, the Santa Monica Observer. They had an article in the Santa Monica Observer where a lawyer for the DEA that works for the DEA accidentally broke a story. I think it was a planned deal from the government. I think this was planned, but that's just me. So they were talking about how the DEA is going to reschedule cannabis. They're going to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. So let's discuss about what that's going to mean for the industry, the good and the potentially bad things that could be, and then let's start out with a quick breakdown of the drug schedule. So for anyone that doesn't know, is my company hiring? Shoot me an email and I'll talk about that. I don't believe that we're doing any hiring at this moment, but we will be soon. So quick breakdown of the schedules. The government, the DEA breaks drugs down into 5 different schedules, with Schedule 1 being defined as the DEA as substances or chemicals that are defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Schedule 1 drugs are the most dangerous of all the drug schedules with this kind of makes me laugh, with potentially severe what does it say? What does it say again? With potentially severe psychological or physical dependence, right? And all of us in the marijuana community would agree that that is an accurate description of marijuana, except the exact opposite, pretty much. Schedule 1 drugs would include heroin, LSD, ecstasy, methamphetamines, those drugs that have the highest potential for abuse. I'm not from Big Bear. I'm actually living in Las Vegas. My name's Barry. Real big guy. People call me Big Bear. I'm a fan of cannabis. Big Bear Cannabis. So Schedule 2 drugs would be cocaine, methadone, Demerol, OxyContin, fentanyl. Those are Schedule 2 drugs, which is where marijuana will be moving, which makes sense, right? I mean, marijuana right next to OxyContin and fentanyl. Tylenol with codeine would be Schedule 3, anabolic steroids, testosterone, ketamine, all Schedule 3. Schedule 4, which blew me away, was Xanax, Soma, Valium, Darvocet, Ativan. Yes, those are Schedule 4 drugs. And then Schedule 5 drugs would be Robitussin, Modafinil, and Lyrica. Those are Schedule 5 drugs. You notice you didn't hear alcohol or cigarettes because those are legal drugs. Yes, those are completely descheduled. Yes, especially the benzodiazepines like Xanax and Valium. Those are incredibly addictive. They're physically addictive. So, Xanax, ketamine, those are all safer than marijuana, right? Yeah, of course. So what does this all mean? I'm going to take a look at the good and the potentially bad. So first things first, let's look at the good. First and foremost, marijuana will now be legal in all 50 states for medical use. Yes, you heard that right. Marijuana will now be legal in all 50 states for medical use. That's obviously hugely important, and doctors can start prescribing marijuana instead of just recommending marijuana. So now doctors can actually write a prescription. Will they do that? I don't think so. This starts August 1st. Now, this isn't from the DEA. This is from a lawyer that works with the DEA. So I'd heard that this was going to happen June 1st. This is something I talked about in the past. It was supposed to be happening June 1st, but it's moved back since then. This is the beginning of Big Pharma takeover, possibly. And let's talk about that a little bit more. But what is some of the other good things that it does? Well, it's going to give protection to people that have medical marijuana prescriptions at work. So if your company was previously a drug-free workplace, dump Big Pharma 100%. If you were previously working at a drug-free workplace, if you have a medical prescription and you have a medical prescription and not a recommendation, this is where this is going to get a little bit sticky, but this is now going to start protecting people that have the ability to consume cannabis and give them those work protections. It also will give insurance the opportunity to start paying for medical cannabis. Now, I don't know that Big Pharma is going to pay, or big insurance companies are going to pay for your marijuana flower. Twitchy Blaze, what's up, buddy? I don't think insurance is necessarily going to pay for your marijuana flower, but caps, edibles, things of that nature might start getting paid for. And this lawyer had said that in his opinion, places like Walmart, or not Walmart, but Walgreens and CVS are going to actually start dealing in those substances, so that you can go now to Walgreens or CVS, your local pharmacy, and pick up marijuana edibles. They're not, he said, I don't think they'll ever sell smokable product, but you might be able to get edibles and pills and tinctures and lotions at a place like a Walgreens. So great news. Going to be a lot more access for people throughout all 50 states for medical. Plus, the door is absolutely going to be burst open for testing. This is a huge portion of it, and testing is going to be an important part of the future of the industry. And so that door is going to be open drastically, because Schedule I substances our government has made it nearly impossible. We're going to talk about that. What does that mean for rec clubs? It's made it nearly impossible for anybody to test a Schedule I substance. The only people that were getting approved for these tests were people that were looking at marijuana in a negative light. If you wanted to look at marijuana in a possibly positive light, the government was denying your application to even study marijuana. It was pretty ridiculous. So, you might be thinking, well, like the gentleman there asked, what could this potentially be? The potential here is the government could actually refire up the drug war here. This is kind of scary, because in the article, the lawyer was quoted as saying that anybody that lives in a legal recreation state, I'm talking about all 50 states here, but if you live in a legally recreational state, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, the states also that are going to be coming up, Nevada, or California, Massachusetts, just to name a few, that you'll need a prescription to consume marijuana. So for any of the legal states, if you had say a Donald Trump come in, you might end up having a situation where Chris Christie's the AG, and he wants to fight this to his supreme power that he'll have as Attorney General, and he'll try to fight this as hard as he can. He could potentially shut companies down, because remember, if you're dealing in a Schedule II substance, those are legal substances, right? But those are OxyContin, fentanyl, like I'd said before. You have to have a federally issued pharmaceutical license to either manufacture or distribute those. So the government could come in and be like, oh, well, you don't have a license for this. We're going to go ahead and shut you down. So that's obviously very scary as one of the things that could be potentially really bad. This could wreck the recreational industry. Trump, energy is not winning all the crap they give me. I know, right? All the stuff that they're willing to give you, and they won't try cannabis. Like I was saying, this could shut down the thousands of legal grow ops, the thousands of mom and pop dispensaries all throughout the country. And I could see this could potentially as well mean bye-bye for home grows. You can't make OxyContin in your home, right? Well, you're not going to be able to grow in your home either. So this could actually end up targeting small collective gardens or small home grows even. If someone's making too much noise, the government could really potentially abuse this pretty drastically. So I hope that that's not going to be the case. But ultimately, let's move on to the conclusion. What do I really think? Ultimately, people need to stand up and say something. If you guys support cannabis, you need to be calling your representative, who doesn't really represent you very well, I don't think, but and tell them to support legal marijuana. When we do stand up in droves, when we stand up drastically and call our congressmen and women of this country, then we see progress. Define me, what's good? Thank you for joining. We see progress. We've stopped SOPA, PIPA, things like that. I think that we need to be doing that same thing for the TPP. Please call your congressional representative and tell them that they need to be voting against the TPP, because it is an awful piece of legislation. But we also need to do that as well with marijuana. Over half of our country now believes that we should have recreational adult use marijuana. Yes, over half of the country believes that we should have adult use recreational marijuana. In a national poll of almost 3,000 adults, over 81% support medical marijuana. Yes. So over 81% support medical marijuana. And so we're seeing that this is a growing support. And so I don't think that states are going to be complicit, right? I don't think states are going to support the federal government, because when the federal government just did a raid in California. There was a gentleman that was supposed to be making BHO. There was a complaint that was made, and so on and so forth. I appreciate sharing. I love sharing with you guys. So in California, there was recently a raid. Well, the federal government wasn't there by themselves. The FBI wasn't there by themselves. They have to have state support, right? They have to have the cops, the local people, the sheriff's office, or whatever the case, the state troopers or whatever, come in and help with that. It makes it much more difficult, because now you can have one or two representatives from the FBI come in, and the groundwork. Ryan Rollins, thank you for inviting your followers. Twitchy Blaze, same with you. The FBI can come in, have two guys there to really push the envelope, and have the foot soldiers, the policemen of the state, really do the work, right? Like, they go in, they arrest the people, they do all this, they process everything, they take in the evidence, and then the FBI is there to just kind of make sure that everything's done the way that they think it should. But when states will not be complicit in that action, it's the same thing with prohibition with alcohol. What happened was the federal government pushed all these laws forward, and then the states just refused to enact those laws, or at least refused to be complicit in arresting people, shutting down operations, and things of that nature. So when you're the federal government, it's a huge drain on the federal government to have to do this. And so I don't think necessarily that this is going to be the federal government refiring up the drug war. I think that this is a way to slowly move away from the drug war. Testing is going to go up drastically, and I think that that's one of the best things about this. Is it's not really legalizing marijuana, it's not, but it is a movement away from the drug war, and I think that's a hugely important step. They can still arrest people. And people are still going to be arrested, because you don't have if you had OxyContin in your purse and you were caught with that from a cop, and it didn't have a prescription with your name on it, you're going to you may not get arrested, but you're going to definitely be in trouble for that. And that's going to continue to be the case for marijuana, right? This isn't the government coming out and fully legalizing marijuana, but again, it is a step away from that, and we are going to see some really positive things come from this, including better access, all 50 states, possible prescriptions coming along, and things of that nature. So really great news, you guys. I appreciate you joining me. I'm at Big Bear Cannabis. If you're not already, please make sure you're following me on all the social media outlets: Twitter, Massroots, and Pinterest. I always want to call it Instagram, Pinterest. Interest in following me on Big Bear Cannabis? And then I'm doing a giveaway on Facebook, guys. You have to do it from a laptop or a desktop. You can't do it from your mobile, but if you go to facebook.com/BigBearCanna, I'm doing a giveaway there as well. So make sure you're following me. Go to the question of the month, win a piece of glass. Appreciate you guys. Instacrap. As always, go sign up, and I'll get you all the best information in the industry. I hope that I'm give away ounces. Yeah, I'm just giving away ounces of marijuana. I'm that rich that I just giving $250 away at a time. That's pretty crazy. No, just glass and T-shirts and pins, pin batteries for cartridges and stuff like that. All kinds of cool stuff. So, anybody have any questions? Let's smoke a bowl and answer your marijuana questions. Who's excited for, are you more scared or more excited about moving to Schedule 2? Talk more about the rec clubs. Okay, yeah, so have you ever tried Moroccan hash? I've not tried any Moroccan hash. I've heard that's supposed to be some of the best in the world, is that Moroccan hash. I think that a lot of the states are kind of jokish as far as their program goes, but speaking specifically to rec clubs, really, essentially what this does is it makes it so that if the government really wanted to take a step back, they could say, HempFest, 60 days and counting, excited. If the government really wanted to take a step back here, they definitely could. They would easily be able to take a step back and say, oh, you don't have a license to operate. You have to sell this marijuana, this incredibly dangerous marijuana. You have to sell it in a dispensary, or you have to sell it out of a pharmacy, a federally regulated pharmacy, right? That's the only way that you could sell marijuana. Hopefully that won't be the case, and I don't necessarily see it actually being the case. I actually kind of went a little overboard on this bowl, I'm not going to lie. I could actually see that being the case, but I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be exceedingly difficult for the federal government to go after these literally thousands of grows and thousands of dispensaries from all across the West Coast and partially on the East Coast as well. But who's going to HempFest? That's a great question. What do you think about teenagers like me who are smoking weed? So here's the thing. We don't really know. Oh, nice, Sassy. Very nice. We don't really know about how marijuana affects teenage brains. I don't believe it's probably the best thing to do if you're a teenager to take any kind of drug, right? Whether that's alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana. I wouldn't encourage someone that's brain is not done developing to take any kind of psychoactive substance, right? That's just my, opinion. I hope that if you're smoking marijuana that you're not doing it consistently, that if you're doing it, I understand, listen, teens are going to smoke marijuana, teens are going to drink alcohol. I hope that you learn now to do it in moderation and that you do this as safely as you can. Teenage brains like awful rap music, so they must have some sort of ability to be influenced, right? Now sick kids. Now, absolutely, if it's being used for medical reasons, that's much different. I think I'm the last one, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm not. There's no one behind me. Normally, Evan would wrap this up. Big thanks to Evan206. If you guys aren't already, make sure to follow Evan. He's a great guy. Yeah, so, 21 to 25 years old, if you're an adult male, there's a lot of people that say your brain doesn't stop growing until you're 25. I think that, people that struggle with addiction start earlier. People that start smoking, whether it's cigarettes or alcohol or marijuana or whatever the case might be, if you start later in life, chances are that you're going to have an easier time getting off of it if you want to. I don't know if I'm going to be going to HempFest. I would love to. I don't know. It was going to happen, and then it wasn't going to happen, and then it was going to happen, and then it wasn't going to happen. So I'm going to have to see. I would love to be there for sure. There you go. Hopefully we'll all be able to get the chance to hang out here. I got the flame, eye of the flame. Hopefully we'll all have a chance to hang out at HempFest. That would be super cool. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I hope to be able to do a judge. I hope to be able to do some judging and stuff like that. So very much trip ends when HempFest starts. So we might change ticket to Washington. That'd be cool. Why, thank you, Sassy. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've been warming these lungs up for a while now. I've been working on them. So hemp seed oil is basically all useless. So if anyone says that they're extracting from hemp seed, they're usually doing that to get CBD. From the research that I've done, again, there's not a ton of it, but the research that I've done shows that there is 0%, like none, CBD in seed. If you are extracting hemp seed to get cannabinoids, you are getting this many cannabinoids. So, if you talk to someone and they say that they're extracting from seed or stock, I would not purchase that product. I think it is a waste of your money. 50 pounds of green trees. That's a lot of weight. Is it true that smoking cannabis is not darkening the lungs? I heard that. I don't know. That's another one that I would love to know that question. I think, I can't imagine that smoking anything is good. I can't imagine that inhaling smoke is good for you. I can't imagine that it's doing the same amount of damage as cigarettes because there's terpenes in cannabis that actually are bronchial dilators. Pinene, which is the most common terpene in cannabis, is a bronchial dilator. So there's people that, I've heard that too. I've heard that it doesn't blacken your lungs, that it grows lung tissue, that it can actually be good for you, that there's some people that have asthma and use this instead of like a inhaler. That it does green doesn't turn the lungs black. I think that's cool. I don't know that that's the case. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't done the research to really know that. I don't know that the research is really out there to say that. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people I think that there's a lot of people that would say, you can go out there and find information. How legit is it? Is it peer reviewed? I don't know, Brain cells. So in my opinion, cannabis is going to grow your brain. In my experience, it makes memory more difficult, so it hurts your memory, your short-term memory, but it seems to have a positive effect on the balance of your body, right? So it's going to give you, in more ways, it's going to grow your brain. You make different connections when you take drugs, right? There's people in San Francisco that are apparently microdosing LSD because LSD opens different pathways in your brain. You think differently when you're on LSD. Now, if you take a bunch of LSD, obviously you're going to get super high. Well, I've started lately doing more microdosing with marijuana. I take smaller amounts. I smoke just a little bit and then go about my day so that, if I need to be creative, if I'm writing articles or whatever the case is, then I can smoke a little bit of marijuana, get that little boost of creativity, and that's my personal experience. Drug war ends August 1st. What do you mean? So it's that the DEA is going to reschedule from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. And so I suppose I should have named this the beginning of the end of the drug war. It starts August 1st because I really think that there really won't be any backwards progress at this point. I think that potentially, and you can watch the replay here, I think potentially the government could take steps back and refire up the drug war in a different way, from a very large business friendly kind of way. Like, we'll just give this all to big pharma and big insurance and big tobacco and let the biggest of the big players play and no one else will get the opportunity. And I just think it would be really difficult at this point to do that. Being realistic about will the states help fight that? Will, did the federal government have the resources to really make that happen? I don't know. Yes, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for turning out for Monday Morning Motivation. I hope you guys have gotten motivated, learned some bit about some cannabis. Every Thursday, I go live at 7:30 with a different subject. I might do something similar this week. Last week we went deep into CBD. The week before that, I think I did, what was it? Does marijuana make you horny? All different kinds of stuff. So I love sharing my cannabis knowledge. If you guys ever have any cannabis questions, please hit me up with the hashtag AskBigBear on Twitter and social media. Morning. Yes, I'm still morning time here. I'm on the West Coast in Las Vegas. We're West Coast Pacific Standard Time. Well, right now it's PDT, Pacific Daylight Time, because of daylight savings and all that, which, let's get rid of fucking daylight savings. Let's just have one fucking time, please. This whole daylight savings shit, like, fuck all that. Like, enough. I love getting the hour back, but I hate giving that hour up. It sucks. Vegas. Miss Sel, what's up? Is it true that if we eat mangoes, we'll be more high? If we eat mangoes, will we be more high? Okay, so THC is the engine that makes you go, right? THC is the engine that gets you high and makes you go. But the terpenes, the flavonoids, the cannabinoids are what gives it the direction, right? If you just want to go super fast, high in THC will be great for you. If you want a full high where you experience the different feelings and the different stuff that happens in cannabis, then what you want to do is you want to get stuff that has a high in terpenes. You want fresh flower usually has the best, most terpenes, most cannabinoids and all that. So the argument is, and whether this is really high, you're going to have to find out for you because there's no official study on this, but the idea is myrcene is one of the terpenes in cannabis. Myrcene is also in mangoes. Terpenes aren't originated in cannabis, right? Terpenes are a part of all the flowers and plants. And, when you smell lemons, you're smelling limonene, the terpene that's also in cannabis. Well, mango is one of the terpenes in cannabis. Well, myrcene is one of the terpenes in cannabis. Myrcene is one of the terpenes in cannabis, and it's something that makes you very high. And so it also deals with cell absorption. And so what the argument is if you eat a bunch of mangoes, you'll have better cell absorption. You'll already have a boost of myrcene in your body, and when you smoke cannabis, it will give you a better high because you'll already be loaded with that myrcene. That's the argument anyway. How true that is, we can't really test it. It would make sense to me. Thank you so much. I definitely love sharing. No thanks. I don't know. Yeah, and I've never really tried it. Oh, that's cool. I appreciate you sharing with your husband. Definitely. If I can ever help, let me know. I love sharing for sure. I just said that like 6 times in the last minute, but whatever. Kind of like poppy seed bagels. Yeah, I mean, that's I suppose if you were to eat poppy seed bagels and then take some sort of opiate, like, heroin, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Yes. So, do I think it would work? I guess it would make sense that it would work, but I don't know how much you'd have to eat. You're eating it edibly and not smoking it, so does it have the same effect? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, God. Does everybody know where daylight savings came from? Daylight savings was originally created to help farmers, and it was like an economic thing. Created by Benjamin Franklin, the devil. Yep. Farmers. It was for farmers. Yeah, but I mean, smoke more mango. Smoke some mango peels and then you'll get higher. I'm on edibles and dabs and happy as fuck. Who wouldn't want to feel like this? Exactly, right? I mean, we're arresting people for consuming a plant that makes them happy. How does that make sense? 0 people die from it. You can't overdose. You know what I mean? It's your thoughts on RSO. So RSO is a great way to get what they call Phoenix tier or full cannabinoids, right? It's one of the most gentle ways to extract cannabis oils. And so it is definitely one of the best ways of extracting. I don't know enough about it to say how safe it is. I think you're supposed to boil it off, and maybe someone that's in here can talk a little bit about that. But I don't know how safe it is because it is working with an ethanol. You are using, or not ethanol, but like some people use ethanol. Some people use like grease light, a white lightning. What am I looking for? Everclear, like a pure alcohol. So you can attribute a death of someone to smoking cannabis and driving drunk, right? Or they were intoxicated and so they got into an accident. Yes, you can make that relation, right? But people don't die from the use of marijuana. You cannot overdose on marijuana. You can overdose on just about anything else. You can overdose on Tylenol. You can overdose on alcohol. You can probably overdose on cigarettes. There's enough nicotine in them. I must imagine most of you smoked enough of them, you'd die. But people can't, there's some people that would argue that people have taken edibles and jumped off a roof. Possibly, I suppose you can, but you can OD on water. You know what I mean? So you can't OD. You cannot smoke enough cannabis to actually overdose on it because it doesn't affect the part of your brain that deals with your breathing. Yeah. The only way you can die from it is if a cop decides that he's going to beat the shit out of you while he's arresting you and he ends up beating you to death. You know what I mean? The most dangerous thing I love this quote. I think this was Joe Rogan. The most dangerous thing about marijuana is getting caught with it. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous how we treat it. Okay, cool. Yes, we should legalize. Way to kind of nonchalantly promote your channel there. They die from choice and action, right? Cheers, people. Yeah, I definitely find that marijuana helps with feeling more connected to people, right? And I can see how, if metaphysics, if that's something you subscribe to, that it would help you keep more connected to the other side as well. So, all right, guys. I don't know if you heard that giant clog I had in there that I had to run, but got that clog out finally. That'd be nice. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off for tonight, for today, I should say, for this morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful, I haven't ordered one of those hemp wick. Yes, the hemp wick. Make sure you're getting on that. I hope that you have a wonderful Monday, a wonderful week. Make sure you check me out this Thursday, 7:30 p.m. I'm going to be doing another cannabis learning subject. I love you guys. Have a great day, everyone.